Oh no. Hold on 1 second. Just when we thought we managed technical. Is that better? We good? Okay. Okay. So today I am here to talk about cross-system collaboration and really how sometimes that can be difficult, but at the same time, extremely beneficial for the kids and families that we work with. The way that we're going to kind of go through the didactic, I've presented on cross-system collaboration in a lot of different ways. And what I think is most beneficial, we don't have time in our 15-minute didactic to do this today, but I thought it would be beneficial to show all of you some helpful activities and exercises that can be done to increase cross-system collaboration when you are working with other partners in your communities across the state, however that looks like. So kind of go through some of the key components of cross-system collaboration, but then at the end of that didactic, I would like to show you just some really insightful, but also helpful exercises that I think anyone can use in a cross-system way. So when we talk about how we're serving youth and looking at cross-system collaboration, we're looking at reaching across a lot of times fragmented services and systems to make a constructive working relationship. So we all kind of work in our own little silos at times, but we know that kids and the youth that we work with, they don't grow up in systems. They grow up in their own family, and it is the responsibility of the systems to come together to serve youth in the way that best works for them. And that is within a family ecology, but how do we help them as a whole instead of in our siloed kind of worlds that we work in every day? We also want to talk about how do we build a framework to meet the needs of the kids that we work with, and how does that look different across the communities that we work in? Because a framework for how we work with youth in Columbus is going to look different than how we work with youth in a more rural county. The resources are different. The needs of the families are different. The transportation always comes to the top of my head when we talk about rural communities and how do we mitigate those barriers that come up. But why do we collaborate? What's the benefit of this for us, but also for the kids that we're serving? So information sharing, communication, talking about cases, making sure that one system knows what the other system is doing, improved relationships, better service delivery, understanding what are the individual challenges, what are the different complexities and opportunities of the various systems that we work within, improved outcomes. Again, we don't want youth to come into contact with a lot of the systems that we do work with. So how do we reduce the fact that if they come back to that system, providing more options when we work together, we're providing families with more options to have their needs met, and then bringing decision makers to the table, people that have this more holistic view of the youth in their own circumstances, not only talking about the systems, but also the caregivers, the youth themselves. This training that kind of didactic I'm going through with you today is really a part of a larger multi-training series. And prior to this training, our 2 trainings around youth voice and then parent voice. So it's very important in recognizing the a significant role keeping the youth and family involved in the decision-making process is. So what are some of the potential benefits, again, of working cross systems? So broad-based ownership, better results, deeper set of community assets. It's much more cost effective. And then having more leverage, again, just having more resources at the table allows us to benefit those that we're working with in the community. And then kind of giving this one-stop shopping kind of mentality. You come to this one place and we kind of coordinate with the family or with the youth about all of the needs that they can have met, and then we can do this all together in one place. They don't have to have multiple appointments with different people. They don't have to go to multiple different places. It is very much kind of a hub, and trying to make communities work together in a way where, regardless of where they start off in the system, everyone is aware of what the other pieces and players look like. This is probably one of my favorite slides from this training. School and Main Institute, who originally kind of created this framework, but we all just thought this was an extremely fun slide. Again, thinking about it, and my hope is that you will never forget this slide when you talk about cross-system collaboration, because I always think about it. Thinking about everyone coming together. Everyone has their own, again, their own silo, but how do we bring everyone together to be within one partnership? So thinking, again, within your own context, what are the specific ways that various agencies, organizations can collaborate? So just kind of thinking to yourself, but also when you think about how we can collaborate, what are some of the things we must do to build stronger relationships and collaboration between and across our stakeholders? Because it's not always a natural coming together. But collaboration really is at the core of everything that we do. How do we drive these partnerships? So when we look at the keys to success with cross systems, I'm going to talk through these 6 foundations. And that's kind of the basis of what we're looking at. What are the different pieces and parts that we need to focus on? New thinking. So understanding, again, this is hard. It's not business as usual or just running a program. This is bringing everyone's programs together in a way to where they benefit. We'll talk about mutual self-interest. How do we sustain our own mutual self-interest, but still participate in this collaborative work? Shared vision of results. So again, a lot of the times we have the same goal for the youth and families we're working with. The purpose of working together is to bring that shared vision, that shared goal, and helping the family get to that desired destination without having to go back and forth between multiple different agencies. We will talk about community assets and foundation building blocks, collaborative infrastructure. So this really goes back to like interagency funding and MOUs and things like that, making it easier to collaborate to where can work together and there's not so much red tape. And then collective action. So to get results together, we could not get alone. We have to do these things together in order to make sure we can facilitate the change we want to see. So most communities they really are service rich. It's the delivery that's difficult. And it really comes around, there's a lot of good programs, there's a lot of good organizations, but there's so many untapped resources. So the left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing kind of idea. There's so many things. It's just getting them all connected to maximize the resources and to help families gain access to those untapped resources, but also bringing everyone together to know what the different resources are. Collaboration takes skill. So it's our self-interest that fuel how we come to the table. We all care about kids, we care about the work that we do, but we do have those individual self-interests, and that's what will keep us there. So we want to make sure that the needs of the systems are being met in this work, but also that the needs of the youth and family are at the front of all of that. And then recognizing that it's the way we work together. It's not what we're doing, it's how we do it. So if collaboration is such a good idea, why is it so hard? Well, again, we're well-intentioned, but sometimes it's a really heavy lift to make extra time, to have more collaborative meetings, to work around people's schedules, to make sure everyone can be there. It's not the way we've always worked. And sometimes it looks like being polite in a once a month meeting where we don't really kind of go through other things, but sometimes it's being a little more, it's challenging some of those things that go on in our communities that maybe we would like to see changed. So what can you do better together that you cannot achieve alone? So these are a few of the tools and techniques that I threw in here. And I put them all in a way to where you could reference them after, because I don't want to go through them each, but busting myths and opening minds. This is really about getting an idea of what other systems do. So kind of like it is doing this exercise where you kind of give your best take on what the other people in the room do, what kind of programs, initiatives, projects are going on in the community, and kind of coming up with as much as you can think of, and then coming together to say, how is our stuff connected? How are we working together? Do we actually need more stuff? Or did we just not know about all of these other great things going on in our community? Identifying mutual self-interest. So again, talking about professional roles and how they work with youth and families. Also, one assumption or myth about your role you would like to bust. And then what did you learn that you didn't know before about other colleagues, other collaborators in the systems that you work within? And again, these are just some of the questions to help you facilitate. These are some examples that were given when we've done this activity with other system partners, just to give you an idea of what was seen. And then how do we create this common vision of results, kind of coming from that mutual self-interest? This is one I really like, and it's community asset mapping. I'll also, Kara, I'll send you the worksheet that kind of goes with this community asset mapping, so we can attach it and send it out as well. It walks you through step by step how to do community asset mapping in a collaborative way, to see what are there any gaps, what are the overlaps, and how do you kind of address these implications for like system development and how to shift doing things together. And again, this just kind of walks you through how to do it. And then this is case study guided questions. So just another way to collaborate together. Gabriel was the name of a case study that we all did together. And then we kind of just had a canned case study where we gave that out to system partners, and then they essentially took their own asset mapping and said, how do we serve this youth, but what can we do better together, and kind of working through these questions to see how they were really doing, how they were doing things in the before the training essentially, but then what do they need to change things to make this shift happen. And then here are just some skills for effective collaboration, which we've kind of gone through as we were talking here. And then when we talk about making collaboration happen, I wanted to keep this slide on here because I think it's important. I don't want to read it off to you, but I think this is really important to come back to when you think about how do we bring youth and families into our collaboration? How do we make sure they're included when we're talking about cross-system work? Making sure that the services we have in our community asset mapping are actually matching what youth and families need and what they want, and that their voice is heard. So my hope is that you will be able to kind of think about examples that demonstrate what you might do differently in your own community, but also a couple of concrete steps you can take back to your own agencies and your own work, and how to help your organization's leadership. And I know I've gone over my 15 minutes. I'm not good with 15 minutes, but everything will be in the slides for you. And my email's there as well if you have any questions.